Today we will discuss about fatty acid consumptions during endurance exercises. So we will start with this adipocyte. So what are the changes that occurs in the adipocyte? So when in adipocyte there is epinephrine or uh, norepinephrine and the glucagon when binds to their respective receptors, then they will activate this adenyl cyclase, and this adenyl cyclase will help in this C-camp formation, and this C-camp formation will activate protein kinases, and the protein kinases will lead to the phosphorylation of this HSL and peripherin on the membrane of this lipid droplet, and this phosphorylation of this HSL and peripherin will cause uh, this uh, CGI 158 to move to this ATGL, and this CGI 58 along with this TAG helps in this diacylglycerol formations, or it will accelerate this diacylglycerol formations, the phosphorylation of this perilipin. So this in the process of this diacylglycerol formations, it will release this fatty acid, and this fatty acid will interact with this uh, fatty acid binding protein at the adipocyte membrane, and will help those fatty acids to move into these blood vessels and then binds with the albumin. Similarly, this some part of the DAG will be converted into this MAG and also into the fatty acid with the help of this phosphorylated HSL, and this fatty acid will also interact with this fatty acid binding protein, adipocyte fatty acid binding protein on the membrane, and helps them to move into this blood vessel where they can interact with this albumin and form a fatty acid albumin complex. And this thing occurs when the insulin is trying to compensate the when insulin is trying to activate or compensate this PKB AKT pathway. It will try to reduce this PKB ATB AKT pathway, which is a survival pathways. So this is about the adipocyte, or changes occurs in the adipocyte. And when it comes to the blood vessels, during the endurance exercise there is a high production of this LPL, and that will cause the conversion of this CM and VLDL, which is the source of this triglyceride into this free fatty acid, and in terms of that they will also convert or increase the amount of this HDL formations. So that's why during endurance exercise people might observe high HDL formations. So now blood vessels contains free fatty acid from the adipocyte that is made a complex with the albumin, and also the free fatty acid from the high LPL productions that convert this CM and VLDL into this free fatty acid that will interact with this albumin. So in the third step, the myocyte, which is the smallest tissue of the muscle. So in this case what will happen, either the long chain fatty acid can directly interact with this FATP and can go under this fatty acyl CoA process. However, the other small fatty acid interact with this FAVP or FAT CD63 myocytes membrane receptors, and then convert it into this free fatty acid through this FABC through this fatty acid binding protein that are present at the in the cytosol. And after that, once the fatty acid are within the myocyte cytosol, they can undergo these ACS reactions through this CPT1 that are present in the membrane of the mitochondria. And once they are inside the mitochondria, they can undergo beta oxidation. The fatty acyl CoA undergo beta oxidations to convert it into this acyl CoA, which can be utilized in this TCA cycle to form the ATPs, and which are being used as a main source of energy that is necessary for the muscle contractions. And apart from this, what will happen, there is a internal Free fatty acid formations also occur within the myocyte, and that can be seen here. This apelin and glucagon interact with their respective receptors, and that will activate this adenyl cyclase, the similar process that we have discussed in the adipocytes, that will form leads to this CAM formation that will activate protein kinase, and the phosphorylation of HSL will cause this free fatty acid formations, the similar way that we have discussed in the adipocyte. And this protein kinase will also cause the upregulation of the genes that are involved in lipid oxidation, so that the oxidations process will also accelerated at the same time, so that will leads to this high production of this ATP in the mitochondria. And here the additional thing is that the GH will interact with the GH receptor, that will lead to the activation of the JAK2 and STAT5 pathway. That is also contributes towards the upregulations of the genes involved in the lipid oxidations. So this is how the more ATPs are formed during the endurance exercise, that helps in the muscle contractions and the other uh, things that are necessary during endurance exercise. So I hope you got basic idea how the fatty acid consumption occurs during endurance exercises. If you need to understand more about this in detail, you can go through the reference that has been provided in the description. That's all for this video. Thank you for your time.